The northern horizon burned with the last light of the sun as a storm gathered in the distance. The waves of the Atlantic rose high, striking the dragon-proud Longship with merciless force. Once, the deck had been filled with voices, laughter, songs, arguments about home and glory. Now only silence remained. Among the wreckage of broken shields and snapped oars, one man sat hunched, his hands bleeding as they gripped the steering oar. Erik Jarl. He was not the strongest among his people, nor the wealthiest, nor even the bravest. But he was the last survivor, and in his solitude he carried the weight of all their stories. The storm dragged on for days. Erik barely slept. He ate dried fish soaked with seawater and prayed to gods he was no longer sure were listening. Yet when the winds finally calmed, and the sea turned silver beneath the dawn, land appeared. Not a familiar coast, but an island shrouded in mist, rising like a secret withheld by the ocean. Exhausted, Erik pulled the battered Longship ashore. He tied it to a black stone, kissed the ground, and whispered, "If this is my grave, let it be known I reached farther than most." The island was strange. No birds sang, no beasts roamed. Instead, there were circles of standing stones, taller than men, covered in moss and carved with runes. Erik knew runes well. Yet these were older, deeper, glowing faintly as if they breathed with the earth. That night he lit a fire from driftwood. The flames flickered, and the mist thickened. Then he heard it. Not the crash of waves, not the cry of gulls, but whispers carried by the wind. They were not words of his tongue, but he felt their meaning sink into his bones. "You are not alone." Erik shivered. He drew his cloak tight but dared not leave the fire. The Longship, moored at the shore, creaked as if sighing. Sleep finally claimed him, and in dreams he saw visions. Ships with no crew, sails tattered yet glowing with starlight, moving silently across the heavens. When dawn broke, Erik explored further. He discovered streams of pure water, fruit-bearing trees, and caves where light shimmered on the walls as though the stones themselves were alive. But the most unsettling discovery was a single massive monolith, etched with symbols of a ship beneath a blazing sun. Below it was carved an inscription in a dialect half-forgotten. The ship that never returned carried wisdom home. Erik stood frozen. Was this his fate? To never return? To vanish like the ghostly ships of his dreams? Days turned to weeks. Erik built a shelter, learned the patterns of the island, and yet the runes continued to glow at night, as though calling to him. Then, one evening, as the mist lifted, he saw figures approaching. They were people, not warriors, but a small community. Men, women, and children, clothed in simple garments woven from seagrass and animal hides. They greeted him with calm faces, neither surprised nor afraid. It was as though they had expected him. The elder among them, a woman with hair white as snow, spoke slowly. Her words were unfamiliar, yet Erik understood her meaning deep within. "You are here because the sea chose you. What you carry is not strength of arms, but the weight of choice." From them, Erik learned that the island was no ordinary place. Generations of travelers had come here, drawn not by conquest, but by destiny. Each had carved their story into the living stone. Some spoke of grief, others of hope. The island preserved them all. The runes, the elder explained, were alive. They listened. They remembered. They whispered back the voices of those long gone. Erik struggled with this truth. He longed for his homeland, for his family who might believe him dead. Yet each time he dreamed of returning, the sea sank his ship in visions. Each time he dreamed of staying, the runes grew brighter, as though urging him to leave behind a mark of his own. At last, beneath the northern lights, Erik entered the great circle of stones. The air shimmered. The whispers ceased, waiting. He understood. The island demanded an answer. Would he leave behind a rune of conquest, like so many before him? Or would he choose another legacy? Erik carved carefully, each line trembling but deliberate. He did not carve axes or crowns. Instead, he drew a ship sailing under a star, a symbol not of battle, but of journey, hope, and remembrance. When the final stroke was made, the stones glowed bright, then fell silent. For the first time since he arrived, the island's whispers were gone. Erik smiled. He knew his longship would rot at the shore, that he would never see his homeland again. But his story, etched into the living stone, would outlast him. It would tell future travelers that not all Viking journeys end in blood. Some end in wisdom,